Okay, understand that Friday afternoon, after lunch, I need to keep you guys awake. I'll try my best to do that. Try to be as engaging as possible. I will also play a little video so that you get a bit entertained. Of course, the logistics guys told me that don't plug in the jack before you play the video, it will shout. So, we'll do it later. So, just a little bit about me. I will not bore you with introduction. I am Chief Business Architect for Wipro's digital consulting business. What I do for living is create proposition for my customers, own the business, and also spend some time consulting customers, trying to solve a real life problem of the enterprises. And today, as you can see from the title, it's a very complex looking title, enterprise design, that too at scale and at speed. What I will try to do is start with a context of digital business and see if we can answer the why, what, and how question within the limited time we have. So, moving on. First, try to keep you awake. What do you think or feel, or what comes into your mind when somebody calls digital? What on earth digital is? Anybody? What is digital? Sorry? Opposite of human. Interesting. Anybody else? What do you think digital is? Any of them you think is digital? The way you interact, starting from your health to transport to your transactions to your day-to-day life. I'll take that courage to counter you that digital is not opposite to human. Digital is all about human. Our view is digital is essentially a lifestyle. Digital is the way we live in the current world. Digital is the new way we work, live, communicate, collaborate. And it's a whole new business model. Digital is a business model in our view. So if digital is a business model, then you need to deliver business value and outcome to the digitally connected customer base. The adding complexity to it, or adding dimension to it, is in today's world, in today's environment, the speed of change is no less important than the change itself. So if you think you will change at your own pace, we have seen history. Anybody remember the company who has invented digital photography? Kodak. Fantastic. Where they are today? So Kodak has invented digital photography before 1990, and they decided that that's not the future of the world. They thought classical filming is the future of the world. Rest is history. Until 2010, the biggest investment bank of the world, remember the name? Lehman Brothers. I was fortunate or unfortunate to be on the final discussion where as part of my earlier company job, we told if you don't change your partnership model and the part of your business model, you will not exist, and we were shown the door. Get out. We are Lehman Brothers. Why I am telling this to you? The only reason, not to frustrate you guys or not to inculcate fear, the reason I am telling this to you is pace of change, the way you change your organization, the rate at which you have to change your organization has been phenomenal. And the digital disruption as a business model disruption has only added to that. Anybody disagrees with the statement? The world around us is changing faster every day. Is changing every nuances of our life, every brand, every people, every individual, every organization. And today's customers, what they buy is not your product, what they buy is not your service. Yes, they expect smart products, they expect better services, but only those products and services that make sense in their lifestyle, that adds value to their overall life. So if you become a commodity, you will become irrelevant. Anybody who will happily buy a commodity without any differentiation that doesn't add anything to your life, I don't need to tell you the answer, right? Okay, how many of you have sent a parcel or ever tracked a parcel? How many of you are very good at remembering that 16-digit tracking code? How many of you have found this very, very joyful experience of the lingo they use? Shipment out, production in, classification done. So if you are frustrated about this kind of an treatment as an individual, imagine the corporates who deal with thousands of shipment every day. Of course, I will tell you the story without a slide because I will not use the slide for obvious reasons. I can't disclose the slides. So we are working with the biggest logistics provider of the world. And painfully and with joy, it took us few months to get to a consensus that the experience they provide, the value they provide to their customers need to change. So, we have agreed to a proposition which I will come back to collaborative work in a bit details in a few minutes. Where the client has gone back to their top 100 clients and confessed that yes, the service will continue to be as bad as it is for next 3 to 4 months, but this is what we are doing to improve it, and this is what it means to you. What they are doing, what we are doing together is, instead we are going away from the 16-digit tracking numbers, we are giving them a more friendly interface, and not only interface, we are changing the way corporate shipment tracking is done. So the corporates will have the facility to tag, just like you tag things in Facebook, they will be able to tag their own information about a shipment on their own discretions. If it can be a shipment from New York to Japan or a consignment for PepsiCo, US, the order number or the tracking number becomes secondary, and as a solution, what we are ultimately coming down, solution is a secondary thing, I will say. In order to generate the superior experience, what we are doing is, for each of their bulk shipment, we are using a 50-cent worth chip, which will automatically, in real time, transmit data to their collection center, and the entire real-time forecasting and positioning can be tracked. Of course, a 50-cent worth chip will break, right? Might break. But it doesn't matter, because a corporate doesn't send one letter or one envelope. They send shipment in volume. Even if 50% breaks, you will have the visibility of your shipment status. And the cost of this change, and of course we are using big data technology, we are using real-time IoT transmission, etc., etc. I will not go into the details. The additional cost to serve is charged back to the customer. So the company has agreed with their top 100 clients that the average cost of shipment will go up anywhere between 75 cents to $1.30. Why do you think the corporates agree? Because in one of their biggest customers we have spoken to, their average expenditure of tracking shipment and shipment mitigation risk, the amount of workforce they need to throw at it to inhumanly track those numbers and get that risk validated, is in the range of $200,000 to $450,000 a week. So even if you pay $1 extra per shipment, you are actually at least 50 to 60% benefit of your risk mitigation, cost to serve your own customer, and human doing inhuman work. Have you came across any company in the world who are in abundance of people? They have more people than they need. So you can rechannelize your own workforce, getting them away from stupid work. And that's what we mean by moving away from commodity and becoming truly relevant. If I am not adding value to my customer's life, as a company, as an organization, as an individual, my relevance is in question. Make sense so far? Moving ahead. So why do we think it matters so much? In the morning session, while the question answer was going on, you might recollect I made a statement that bankers don't understand that they are at risk. So I'll try to get you a story, get you a view of a retail banking scenario, and try to explain why this matters so much today. We are talking about millennials in 2 days, right? Have you came across a millennial like her who thinks she is not a customer of the bank? What do you ever need a bank for? Yes, you need banking as a discipline in your life, as a financial establishment or financial practice in your life. Do you need a traditional bank? And what if your next competitor is not a bank at all? How many of you never use bank for money transfer? Still only a few, right? Do you think it will change over time? What if somebody provides an experience, differential experience, and has a financial transaction on top of it? Let's look at a typical retail bank product they offer, service they offer. For each of the product they offer, you have a ton of alternative. And most of the time, the alternatives provide better experience, better service, often at a competitive or even lower cost. So the simple mission for a bank is, unlike any organization, a bank needs to be relevant in your life. Every day, at every aspect of a person's financial life, across touch point, bank is always about money. In the morning we are discussing bank is about money, right? And we believe relevance is the new money. How many of you think your bank is very relevant to you in your life in the current mode of operandi? Nobody? Interesting. So, what if we can change a bank to the way that you wouldn't want to live without it? It's not about couldn't. You could live without a bank. What a bank can do to ensure that you wouldn't like to live without a bank? The differentiation for a bank, we believe, is value. What value they are generating in your life beyond money. It's your money which bank takes, right? What value you get out of the bank? It's always about value. It's always about value beyond your money. How does it look like? Okay, let me plug it in. So this is my vision, I should not say my vision, this is my company's vision about.
We live in a world where value moves beyond money. And with this profound change, there's a great opportunity to create a bank you wouldn't want to live without. Not couldn't, wouldn't. Today, value is no longer just paper, it's data. But the true value is what you do with this data. How it enables you to live a smarter, more connected, and informed life. The bank of the future will offer services that hold and activate all of your values beyond money. So can we create a bank you wouldn't want to live without? We can.
My boyfriend and I are always trying to get our heads around how our choices affect our future. Should we save up more? Can we buy that house that we really want?
Imagine a bank that encircles you and the people, experiences, and products you love. A bank that naturally enables payments and financial experiences in any situation. And is always smoother and smarter than yesterday.
My entire life is online. My dad worries about that, but I know everything is secure. Like when I'm out with friends, it's super easy to share the bill, even if they're not already in my circle.
Now imagine a bank that protects you and your family's valuable data as well as all of your social, professional, permanent and momentary transactions, giving you full control of what you want to share and with whom. Right now, customers are looking beyond banks to fulfill their needs for a smarter, easier, and more connected life. They're looking through the hundreds of new smart services that link financials with everything in their lives. They're looking to the small and agile, to the ones that offer a quick fix at the expense of privacy and security.
For me, an ideal life is one where I'm not restricted by the things that I own. I mean, I lease my car, I live in a rented apartment, and let me live the way I want. Free of ownership, where it's more about building great relationships.
Now we need to redesign the value of having a bank to constantly exceed the customer's expectations of the future. If we do so, the potential of a bank is much greater than it could ever have been in the past. It becomes truly transformational. We must move beyond handling money to delivering valuable and meaningful services that connect with more of our lives, helping us make informed decisions, effortless transactions, and protect what we love. This is your life, smarter than ever.
If this is the future of the bank, it's not about digital transformation, right? It's about changing the way the industry works. It's essentially transformation of banking. What if we don't do it? I guess the answer is obvious, right? So, who knows your financial information better than a bank? Nobody, right? What do banks do with it? Bank has all the data about you, right? Every penny you spend, every money you spend or earn, bank has explicit details about it. They don't even share it with you. Forget sharing with creating value about it, right? Traditional banks don't. So we are working with a couple of banks, few of the banks. I will give you example of couple of propositions we are trying to make. When you log into your banking account, what does bank show you? Balance. How much of it you already don't know? Not to the cents and euros probably, not to the pennies and pounds probably. You have a rough idea of what is on your pocket, right? What about a bank tells you something which is insightful for you, which is useful for you, which creates value in your life? In the video you saw a couple planning to buy a house, right? What if a bank tells you whether you are saving enough money to get to your dream house? Why can't a bank tell you that, Mr. Trishit, you are an avid traveler or a high street shopper, or you are trying to meet ends, your inflow and outflow there is a gap, or this is how your financial positioning stands, and can we do anything to make your life better? Unless people trust in the bank, they will not engage with the bank. So as one of the parts we are trying to do, we are in a transformation program where we call it an integrated service, sales and service transformation program, where we are exactly trying to do that. Give an unified view to your customer when you log in. Unless you go directly to balance inquiry, it doesn't show you the balance by default. It shows you your financial portfolio, your pattern of spending, your pattern of income, and your focused. That's where the value lies. All the banks sell credit card, right? Almost all the banks sell credit card. And these credit cards are often very closely tied up with a particular brand. I have a British Airways Amex credit card. I have my UK bank has given me another British Airways credit card as well. But you are locked in, right? What if I don't like British Airways? So in one of the US bank we are working with, they are changing that model into banks loyalty, and at the end of the period you decide, it can be minimum quarterly, maximum yearly, you will accumulate your credits, and based on your profile, spending on the credit card, risk history, and your overdue history, etc., there is an agreed amount of credit or bonus or voucher bank will give you to spend for your choice. You are not locked in with what the bank offers. You have the freedom to use the bank's credit the way you want. Of course, there are complications around it. There are big changes across the ecosystem that you need to do. And the changes we are talking about has to be driven outside in instead of an inside out. Because banks are typically about products, typically about their product, their service, what they sell. It has to change from what my customer wants, how I can delight my customer, how can I bring value to my customer's life. And that's the experience part of the story. It has to be experience-led, and it has to be high velocity. Gone are the days where you will run 5-year transformation program and wonder about how much I have created, how much I have succeeded, how much I have not. So, experience, velocity, and scale, we believe, are the three foundations for any transformation program as of today, any change program in the digital business today, irrespective of the industry. So if that's why we need it, what needs to change? The simple answer is everything. Most of the organization has to be shifted upside down to change the way it's required or demanded by the time. It's not rocket science. We are not talking about something impossible. But what we are essentially talking about is the silo thinking needs to end immediately. You have to think about the big picture. You have to understand the value of entire customer experience. Cross-silo, cross-department. You have to understand the entire journey of the customer. And by customer, I am not only referring to external customers. It can be your internal customers. Very few organizations actually understand that your employees are your biggest asset and your internal customers as well. You cannot deliver exceptional value to your customer if your employees are not felt valuable and they don't deliver their best. So obviously we have discussed multiple times across these 2 days that we need a different way of working. We need to embrace outside in. We need to go beyond silo. We need to be agile, so on and so forth. I will not take you through this busy slide. What we are essentially saying is there has to be an insight, there has to be a disruptive insight from where you start. You need to absolutely be sure that you have the insight to change the organization, shape the future vision, experience roadmap, then design it, then deliver it continuously, etc., etc. And it spans across the portfolio of your organization. It's not about only your own organization. It involves your business change portfolio. It involves customer experience. It involves all your change program, including technology. It involves your partners. It involves your staff, contractors, your entire ecosystem. If you look at your portfolio, it has to change from annually compiled typical portfolio to an evolving experience roadmap. Your customer experience typically is judged by project execution, not by customer outcome. It needs to go into strategic design, which informs and establishes the change portfolio. It needs to go from your requirements, which nobody in the world other than the author understand, to user stories, narratives, and scenarios. From a tightly coupled state to an adaptive architecture. I will come back to adaptive architecture separately. From a typical view of command and control, build something on an instruction-led offshore low-cost environment to a no-show team of collaboration guided by visual design and behavior. I will come back to behavior and common metrics. And of course, big development, little operations to a true DevOps where you are developing and operating at the same pace and same style. Release cycle where your service delivery is acting as the last line of defense to a continuous value stream into production. This is a Netflix logo in the background for purpose because they do release in an average of 1 hour 20 minutes in production today. And from an operations perspective, when you from preoccupation with risk and incident management to a capability which has a sense making and value addition to your portfolio of change. All these are fine, right? How do you do it? So, we believe this doesn't happen out of magic. You have to craft it carefully. You have to design the distinct organization capability to deliver what it needs. And we use a tagline that magic happens at the intersection of strategy, design, and technology. It's not only about strategy, it's not only about design, it's not only about technology. And an architecture needs to be adaptive enough to bring them all together. If you are not bringing strategy, design, and technology together, I'm afraid you are not doing your job as an architect. And by architecture, I am not only restricting to technology or business or function. So I have seen both the extremes. One school of thought says architecture is about architecting business capability and change. It has nothing to do with technology. Hypocrisy, complete hypocrisy, standing at 2017. And another school of thought thinks that enterprise architecture or architecture as a discipline in the organization is all about technology. Nonsense. Technology is only one of the many resources you will use to drive the change. Now, why things has changed? Anybody familiar with the Canopin model? So historically, this is a simple Canopin model representation. Historically, the strategists and architects dealt with complication and chaos. You have a complicated area, complicated change portfolio, or complicated portfolio of the organization which needs to be analyzed through expertise. It requires effort to understand, and your main focus is to prevent this to fall from here to here. What the digital disruption has done is your focus was expertise-based, complicated landscape management. That was the focus of strategy. That was the focus of architect's job. But the new norm is, whether you like it or not, your portfolio will incrementally and exponentially become more and more and more complex in order to deliver simple, intuitive, differentiating experience to your customer. So, you have to manage this cycle, that how do you manage complexity to derive simplicity as an outcome. And the best outcomes are always about simplicity. So it shifts from analytical behavior, it shifts from subject matter expertise to an emergent behavior where you constantly adapt and embrace complexity in order to deliver simple yet differentiating and intuitive customer experience. Your portfolio will become more and more complex as you embrace new capabilities, be it technology capability, be it business capability, be it everything else. Okay, one of the less colorful but very important slides. I will not take you through everything. In terms of a change portfolio planning, Patrick was talking yesterday about a good strategy need to understand what it takes to execute, right? So you have a vision, mission, goals, you have an objectives which drives your business strategy. These, you chart out programs which will need change to your business capabilities. If you do not understand what new business capabilities you want, your strategy will fail. And at the same time, your business capabilities has been owned by your business functions who are measured by your value metrics or key performance indicators. If you don't know what differentiation you need to deliver by when, then you cannot realize this because you don't know what you are asking for. And assuming you know what you are asking for, your business capabilities are realized through a set of your services and products which executes through business processes, and more often than not, your business processes are realized through some sort of technology today. And the way your actors interact, the way your actors execute process and capabilities has an influence on your organization. You cannot say that you will need differentiating capabilities but with the same organization. You can't solve the problem with the same mindset you have created the problem, right? So if you are changing capabilities, you need to address organization as well. I have seen multiple organizations, unfortunately, even at CXO level, they think we will address organization later. Never going to happen. So as architects of change, you need to drive the art of the possible and also inform what it takes to deliver, so that you are making changes. You are making decisions, understanding what it takes to deliver. So you need to provide a line of sight of the change. What does it mean? What if we don't do it? What if we do? So it's the architects who must enable this line of sight and enable the decision making. Of course, architects will not take the decisions, but they have to enable the decisions. And the transformation agenda is, one side is customer experience, another side is digitization. You need to balance. You need to balance your customer journey engineering as well as your cost and cost to serve, cycle time, etc. together. I will not take you through everything in these two slides. So basically, what it needs, the key themes we believe around a transformation program is about higher business value and shorter time to market from an organization's point of view. From a customer's point of view, it's about anytime, anywhere. Treat me the way I am, where I am. So customer dictates the norm, not the organization anymore. The capabilities you need to deliver in terms of creating those differentiation. what kind of ecosystem you will need, because you will not be delivering everything on your own. You need a set of partners ecosystem. You need insight, you need flexibility, etc., etc. Of course, I will share this presentation, so I will not go through each line of them. And at the same time, when we are talking about customer experience and digital priorities, there are fitness issues, there are ways of working, there are people and culture, personalization of your desired outcome. You need to ensure that you bring autonomous organization into the picture and integrate. By integration, I mean both integration of your technology estate and integration of your organization as a whole. You have to bring in a collaborative organization into the play. And an organization which interoperates across silo, across boundaries. You will need interoperability starting from the business capabilities to the channel, to your product and services, to your information, to your technology, to your partner ecosystem. Because it's all about interaction, it's all about interoperability. Because as an organization, things will work better only when they work together. It cannot work in silo. So I have often seen that people think that transformation of customer experience is about front channel, the user experience layer only. What if you have a fantastic user interface? Let's say you have a fantastic website. Customer loves it. The moment you transact on it, you are dead. Because the back end of the operation is not being taken forward into consideration. So it has to be integrated as a whole. It has to be front to back. And that's what a strategist or a change advocate or an architect needs to design the organization for. I will not go through each bit of it. So it's an iterative cycle. We have discussed it in multiple times. It's quite in synergy that we start with. I personally don't like the word minimum viable product. What we call it is minimum viable value or minimum acceptable value to your customer, what you can provide, and then incrementally change things along the way. If you put everything together, it's about enterprise transformation. It's about transforming an enterprise at speed, at scale, so that you have a smooth on-time realization of your desired outcome. Yesterday, Nick was talking about nice landing but wrong airport. It's about smooth, on time, or even at times, if you like, 5 minutes before your schedule, landing into the right airport you wanted. I'm on time, right?
So, thank you.